Welcome back to Legend Alley, the channel where we explore the stories that haunt the darkest corners of our imagination. Today, we are not just talking about the ghost or a simple monster. We're talking about an anomaly so terrifying its existence is a constant global threat. An entity that enforces one simple, absolute rule. You must never, ever see its face. This is a story of SCP-096, the Shy Guy. Locked away in a 5x5 meter steel cube is a creature designated SCP-096. It stands over 2 meters tall, a pale, emaciated figure with grotesquely long limbs, and it spends almost all this time in a docile state. It paces by the eastern wall, or sits slumped in a corner, whipping. Foundation researchers describe its soaping as pathetic, not threatening. It shows no signs of higher intelligence and appears to want nothing more than to be left alone. For this reason, they nickname it the Shy Guy. But this quiet sorrow hides a terrifying, automatic, and unstoppable trigger. If any human anywhere in the world views the face of SCP-096, whether directly, in a video recording, or even in a photograph, it enters a state of immense emotional distress. The quiet whipping stops, and something else begins. This horrifying trigger was discovered through a tragic events of Incident 0961A. It started with Charles Ross, an amateur mountaineer on a trip in the Himalayas. He was just a regular guy enjoying the view. He snapped a photo of himself smiling against the vast, snowy landscape. He didn't notice it. How could he? In the background of his photo, hundreds of meters away, almost invisible against the snow, were 4 pale, off-white pixels. 4 pixels, that was all it took. Weeks later, a Foundation agent at a remote station was scanning old satellite photos. He noticed a tiny anomaly in Ross' picture. He zoomed in. Back at site redacted, thousands of miles away, the alarms blared to life. SCP-096 leaped to its feet. It began to scream, a sound of pure agony, rage, and anguish that echoed through the entire facility. It clawed at its own face and began slamming itself against its reinforced steel cube. Dr. Dan, the head researcher, was in disbelief. No one in the facility had seen his face. The scramble gear, a special visor that censors his face, was working perfectly. They didn't have time to find an answer. SCP-096 tore through the steel door as if it were paper. It ignored staff, ignored all the containment breaches, and just began to run. GPS tracking showed it moving at an incredible speed, on a dead straight line toward a single target. Mobile Task Force Epsilon 11, Nine-Tailed Fox, was deployed. They fired on it with heavy machine guns from helicopters. The bullets did nothing. It didn't even slow down. The Foundation quickly realized the terrifying truth. It didn't matter how old the photo was. It didn't matter if you saw a single pixel or the whole face. The moment you see it, SCP-096 knows. And it will not stop. It will not rest. It will not be deterred by any obstacles on Earth until it reaches you. The target was, of course, the agent who saw those 4 pixels. The aftermath of this encounter was total, But the horror wasn't over, because now the photograph was evident in the Foundation's cleanup operation. It was seen by thousands more. Each new person who glimpsed those pixels became a new target. The chain reaction of death spread across the globe. This is the most terrifying part of the legend. After SCP-096 has eliminated every single person who has seen its face, every last one, its rage subsides. It stops. It sits down amidst the carnage it's created, and it begins to cry again. It becomes completely docile. It allows Foundation agents to put a bag over its head and escort it back to its cells without any resistance. It isn't evil. It isn't malicious. It's a tragic, unstoppable force of nature, trapped in a horrific cycle it can't control. As Dr. Dan famously wrote in his final report, a report which requested the permanent termination of the entity, SCP-096 is not a monster. It is a nuclear bomb that gets triggered by looking at it. He concluded with a simple, desperate plea: terminate it, for its sake and for ours. And that's the tragic, terrifying truth of SCP-096, an entity that isn't driven by malice, but by a horrifying, unstoppable instinct it can't control. It makes you wonder what true horror really is. So, that brings me to the big question for today's discussion, and I genuinely want to know what you think. If you had the authority in the SCP Foundation, would you approve Dr. Dan's request to terminate 096, ending its suffering but destroying a unique anomaly? Or would you vote to continue its containment, risking another catastrophic breach? Let me know your definitive answer: terminate or contain, and your reasoning in the comments below. I'll be reading through and replying to as many as I can. And if you appreciate these deep dives and the research that goes into them, a quick like on the video is the best way to let me know you want more long-form content just like this. Of course, if this is your first time in the alley, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. This is our very first long-form exploration, and your subscription tells me you are ready to go even deeper on the next one. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. While you wait for our next deep dive, I have a whole library of bite-sized legends for you to explore. I've put a link to the Legend Alley Shorts playlist right here on the screen for you. It's the perfect way to get caught up on the darkest stories lurking in the alley. Thank you for being here for this milestone. Until next time, staying curious and stay safe.